The hidden dangers lurking in your pantry. Are your canned goods secretly harming you? The ubiquity of canned foods in modern kitchens often masks a complex landscape of potential health hazards, particularly for vulnerable populations like seniors. What we perceive as reliable, budget friendly staples, perfect for quick meals and emergency preparedness, might actually harbor a darker secret. These convenient tins, offering an extended shelf life and readily available sustenance, can subtly introduce unseen threats such as bisphenol A, BPA, and its chemical analogs, heavy metals like lead and cadmium, and even the deadly neurotoxin botulinum, which thrives in anaerobic environments when canning processes are compromised. For seniors, whose bodies may be less resilient to the effects of these contaminants due to age-related physiological changes, the risks are amplified. These seemingly harmless foods can pose significant and often insidious risks to crucial organ systems, including the heart and kidneys, and can also impact cognitive function and memory health. Today, we are embarking on a comprehensive exploration, peeling back the lid on a spectrum of canned foods that you should consider steering clear of, and conversely, highlighting two unassuming yet remarkably safe bets for your ongoing well-being and long-term health preservation, allowing for informed dietary choices that support rather than undermine health as we age. The journey into understanding these risks requires a detailed examination of the manufacturing processes, the chemical composition of both the food and its packaging, and the specific vulnerabilities of the aging human body to various dietary components and contaminants. Vienna sausages, nostalgia wrapped in sodium. Vienna sausages, often conjusted with warm feelings of nostalgia, bringing back memories of childhood lunches, convenient snacks, or simple quick meals, can, however, transform into a significant health hazard, particularly for individuals over the age of 45. The overwhelming and pervasive sodium content is undeniably the primary offender. A single standard can of Vienna sausages can house an astonishing amount of sodium, frequently ranging from 700 to over 1,000 milligrams. This substantial quantity represents a considerable portion, often exceeding half, of the daily recommended sodium intake for individuals who are actively managing blood pressure and cardiovascular health. While a younger, healthier individual might merely experience increased thirst after consuming these sausages, the consequences for older adults, especially those already on medication for hypertension, kidney disease, or other cardiovascular conditions, can be severe and even life-threatening. The sudden and dramatic spike in sodium levels can destabilize blood pressure, leading to potentially dangerous fluctuations and significantly overwhelm already stressed kidneys that are working diligently to filter waste and maintain fluid balance. This increased workload can force prescribed medications to operate at their maximum capacity, often just to maintain a semblance of equilibrium, leading to increased side effects and potential organ strain. Even the presence of reduced sodium labels on Vienna sausage cans can be profoundly misleading. Often, this signifies only a modest 25% reduction from an already exceedingly high baseline sodium level, which in practical terms still leaves the product laden with sodium. Furthermore, manufacturers sometimes compensate for the reduced sodium by increasing potassium chloride content. While potassium is an essential mineral, an excessive intake, especially when coupled with compromised kidney function or certain cardiac medications that affect potassium levels, can be extremely dangerous. This can lead to serious health complications such as hyperkalemia, which can manifest as dangerous irregular heart rhythms, potentially leading to cardiac arrest. Beyond the intrinsic ingredients, the very packaging of these sausages poses a significant, often overlooked threat. As low-acid foods, Vienna sausages necessitate extremely precise sterilization procedures and an absolutely perfect airtight seal to effectively prevent the growth of Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium responsible for the potentially fatal neurotoxin botulism. A compromised seal, which may be imperceptible to the senses of smell or taste, can silently transform this convenient, ready-to-eat meal into a silent killer, harboring a deadly toxin that causes progressive paralysis and respiratory failure. Moreover, the internal linings of the cans, whether they contain bisphenol A, BPA, or its less thoroughly studied chemical replacements raise significant concerns, particularly for individuals with a history of hormone-sensitive cancers, such as breast or prostate cancer, or those managing diabetes. BPA is an endocrine disruptor, meaning it can interfere with the body's hormone systems, and its potential long-term health effects are a growing area of concern. Additionally, the nitrites commonly used in processed meats, like Vienna sausages, for preservation, color enhancement, and flavor development, can form N-nitroso compounds, including nitrosamines, which are classified by the World Health Organization as probable human carcinogens. These compounds have been linked to an increased risk of various cancers, particularly gastrointestinal cancers. The combined effect of phosphate additives, frequently used to improve texture and shelf life, can also exert additional strain on aging kidneys and arteries, contributing to arterial stiffness and bone health issues. In essence, Vienna sausages represent a concentrated package of significant health risks that far outweigh their perceived convenience, presenting a formidable challenge to maintaining optimal health, especially for an aging population. Canned tuna, more than just mercury. Canned tuna, a ubiquitous lunchtime staple that has graced the tables and lunch boxes of generations, often fosters a sense of trust, being perceived as a safe, wholesome, and readily accessible source of protein. However, the unwavering trust placed in that familiar metallic can is arguably more fragile and complex than it initially appears, harboring multiple layers of potential health concerns that extend far beyond the commonly discussed issue of mercury. While mercury contamination is indeed a significant and well-documented concern, with albacore tuna varieties, often labeled as white tuna, carrying considerably higher levels of methylmercury compared to skipjack or yellowfin tuna, commonly found in light tuna varieties, the implications of this bioaccumulative toxin are particularly concerning for older adults. Mercury accumulation in the brain and kidneys occurs gradually over years, posing a slow-acting but potentially devastating danger. For seniors who may already be managing pre-existing health conditions, such as cognitive impairments, kidney issues, or cardiovascular problems, the added burden of mercury toxicity can exacerbate these conditions and accelerate their progression. Beyond the elemental threat of mercury, the post-catch handling and processing of tuna can introduce another insidious risk: histamine poisoning. If tuna is not adequately chilled and remains at unsafe temperatures for an extended period before being processed and canned, certain bacteria present in the fish can convert the naturally occurring amino acid histidine into histamine. Crucially, histamine is a heat-stable compound. Neither the cooking process nor the subsequent canning procedure can effectively eliminate it. Consuming tuna rich in histamine can lead to a range of unpleasant and alarming symptoms that mimic an allergic reaction. These can include intense flushing of the skin, particularly on the face and neck, rapid heartbeat, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headaches, and even dizziness. This condition, often mistakenly identified as an allergy, is in fact a form of food poisoning caused by the chemical effects of histamine. The specter of botulism, while rare in commercially canned foods due to rigorous processing standards, also looms as a potential, albeit infrequent, deadly threat. Historical recalls of various tuna brands due to packaging defects, such as faulty seals or microscopic perforations that could allow the ingress of oxygen and anaerobic bacteria, have highlighted the inherent vulnerability of even seemingly secure cans to contamination. The issue extends further to the can lining itself, a constant point of concern in canned food consumption. The presence of BPA and its chemical cousins in the epoxy resin linings remains a significant issue, particularly for individuals with a history of cancer or diabetes. The ongoing scientific debate and evolving regulatory landscape surrounding the safety of these chemicals due to their potential endocrine disrupting properties mean that vigilance is paramount. Even the seemingly innocuous aspect of sodium content in canned tuna can be problematic. Many flavored varieties, as well as reduced sodium options, frequently employ potassium chloride as a salt substitute. As previously noted, this substitution can pose substantial risks for individuals with compromised kidney function or those concurrently taking certain cardiac medications, potentially leading to dangerous electrolyte imbalances and cardiac arrhythmias. The addition of various stabilizers, humectants, and other food additives employed to maintain texture, moisture, and shelf life further compounds the potential health burden. These additives can create a complex cocktail of substances that may tax aging kidneys and arteries, contributing to systemic inflammation and metabolic stress. While canned tuna does offer valuable omega-3 fatty acids, essential for brain health and reducing inflammation, the journey from the ocean to the can is fraught with potential pitfalls that render it a less than ideal choice for consistent, long-term health maintenance, necessitating careful consideration of sourcing, type, and preparation methods. Canned soup, a cozy deception. Canned soup, frequently the quintessential go-to choice for a quick, warm, and comforting meal, often harbors three insidious hazards that can undermine its perceived wholesomeness: an overwhelmingly excessive sodium content, the concerning practice of sodium replacement with potentially risky potassium salts, and the presence of can lining chemicals that have yet to be fully vetted and understood by regulatory bodies worldwide. The ever-present, though thankfully rare, risk of botulism also remains a possibility if the canning process is compromised at any stage. The sheer volume of sodium contained within a typical can of soup is, frankly, staggering and often profoundly underestimated by consumers. A mere half cup of condensed tomato soup, for instance, can easily contain nearly 500 milligrams of sodium, and a full standard serving bowl of most condensed soups can readily exceed 1,000 milligrams. This single serving can represent a substantial portion, often more than half, of the daily recommended sodium allowance for individuals who are diligently managing their blood pressure and cardiovascular health, putting them at significant risk of sodium overload. Even varieties explicitly labeled as reduced sodium frequently fall far short of providing true health benefits. Typically, these labels signify only a modest 25% reduction in sodium from an already critically high baseline level, which in real-world terms means the product remains laden with sodium. The common practice of replacing sodium with potassium chloride, often marketed as a healthier alternative for palatability, presents a significant and often overlooked risk, particularly for individuals managing kidney disease or those who are prescribed certain types of blood pressure medications such as ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics. The excessive intake of potassium from these sources can lead to dangerous electrolyte imbalances, specifically hyperkalemia, which can manifest as severe fatigue, muscle weakness, and potentially life-threatening cardiac arrhythmias and sudden cardiac arrest. The internal can lining, typically made from epoxy resin, is another pervasive concern in the canned food industry. While many European countries have proactively moved towards banning BPA in food packaging altogether due to its well-documented endocrine disrupting properties and potential adverse effects on reproductive health and hormonal balance, the stance of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, remains more lenient, and the safety of the BPA-free alternatives is still a subject of ongoing scientific scrutiny, with some research suggesting that alternative bisphenols may possess similar harmful characteristics. The ubiquitous presence of phosphate additives, often employed as emulsifiers, stabilizers, and acidity regulators to maintain texture, prevent separation, and enhance shelf life, can also contribute to an excessive dietary phosphorus intake over time. This can place additional strain on the kidneys, which are responsible for filtering excess phosphorus from the blood, and has been linked to arterial calcification, bone demineralization, and an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Ultimately, the comforting promise of a warm, satisfying meal derived from a can often conceals a carefully constructed blend of high sodium levels, questionable chemical additives, and potential health risks that can be particularly detrimental and cumulative for older adults who are already facing increased physiological vulnerabilities and managing multiple chronic health conditions. Canned chili, a salty, risky stew? Canned chili, with its hearty and appealing appearance of beans, tender meat, and savory spices, presents itself as a convenient and satisfying meal option. However, upon closer examination, it emerges as one of the riskier canned food choices available, laden with numerous health compromises. As a low-acid food, canned chili requires exceptionally precise, high-temperature sterilization and pressure processing techniques to effectively prevent the growth and proliferation of Clostridium botulinum, the dangerous bacterium responsible for the deadly botulism toxin. A slight deviation or lapse in the canning process, whether during heating, sealing, or cooling, can transform this seemingly innocuous dish into a potent and dangerous trap, especially since the deadly botulinum toxin is notoriously undetectable by smell or taste, making it a silent killer. This is not merely a theoretical concern. Numerous past recalls of canned chili products due to underprocessing have unfortunately led to serious illnesses and even fatalities, tragically underscoring the critical importance of stringent and unwavering canning protocols throughout the entire manufacturing chain. Beyond the immediate and potentially lethal botulism threat, canned chili is frequently a veritable minefield of health-compromising ingredients, meticulously packed together for convenience. The sodium content can be exceptionally high, with a single cup of canned chili potentially containing around 1,000 milligrams, a staggering amount that can push individuals managing hypertension perilously close to, or even far beyond, their daily recommended sodium limits in just one meal. As is a recurring theme with many canned goods, reduced sodium varieties often fail to offer a genuinely safer alternative. These products frequently substitute sodium with potassium chloride, a move that represents a particularly dangerous substitution for individuals with existing kidney problems, or those who are concurrently taking specific heart medications such as ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics. This substitution can trigger life-threatening cardiac rhythm disturbances and contribute to dangerous electrolyte imbalances. The ubiquitous presence of phosphate additives, commonly used to maintain the desired texture, prevent separation, and improve the overall mouthfeel of the chili, contributes significantly to excessive dietary phosphorus intake. This can place substantial strain on the kidneys, accelerate the stiffening and calcification of arteries, and over time, weaken bone density, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Furthermore, the internal lining of the can, often containing BPA or its chemical analogs, introduces another layer of concern regarding potential chemical leaching into the food. This is especially worrying given the growing scientific evidence linking these compounds to endocrine disruption, metabolic dysfunction, and various long-term health risks. In essence, canned chili often amounts to a concentrated, potent cocktail of sodium overload, risky potassium substitutions, detrimental additives designed for preservation and texture, and potentially hazardous packaging materials. This confluence of factors makes it a significant gamble for anyone who prioritizes their long-term health, particularly older adults who are more susceptible to the adverse effects of these cumulative dietary insults. Canned fruit, sweetness with a syrupy sting. Canned fruit, particularly when it is packed in heavy syrup, presents a deceptively wholesome facade, masking a significant underlying issue of excessive sugar content. While the fruit itself might offer some inherent nutritional value, the overwhelming amount of added sugar, primarily sucrose, effectively transforms these seemingly healthy options into calorie-dense desserts in disguise, undermining any potential health benefits. A single cup of mixed canned fruit cocktail in heavy syrup can contain upwards of 40 grams of sugar, which is equivalent to approximately 11 teaspoons of pure sugar. This delivers a potent and rapid sugar spike to the bloodstream, often before a meal even properly begins, creating a metabolic burden. Even varieties labeled as light syrup are essentially just sugar-sweetened water, offering very little in the way of genuine health benefits and still contributing to excess sugar intake. For individuals over the age of 45, these pronounced sugar surges can have several detrimental effects. They can destabilize blood sugar levels, potentially interfering with the efficacy of diabetes medications, exacerbating existing blood pressure issues by contributing to fluid retention and arterial stiffness, and significantly contributing to long-term heart health problems. Numerous large-scale epidemiological studies have consistently linked high sugar intake to a significantly increased risk of death from heart disease, emphasizing the cumulative damage caused by regular consumption of sugary foods and beverages. The can lining, typically made from epoxy resin, frequently contains BPA, which, despite the FDA's current assessment of its relative safety at trace levels, has prompted stricter regulations and outright bans in many European countries due to substantial concerns about its potent endocrine disrupting properties and potential adverse effects on reproductive health and development. Even the commonly used BPA-free alternative linings can leach other bisphenol compounds, such as BPS or BPF, which research suggests may possess similar health concerns and endocrine disrupting capabilities. The presence of certain artificial colorings, such as FD&C red number 3 in some canned cherries, a dye that was recently banned by the FDA due to its established link to cancer in animal studies, serves as a stark reminder that seemingly innocuous ingredients used for aesthetic appeal can carry hidden and serious dangers. Beyond chemical contamination, recalls of canned fruit due to physical contaminants like lead, cadmium, or even minute glass shards further highlight the potential vulnerabilities and quality control issues that can arise in the canning process, posing immediate physical risks to consumers. To mitigate these risks effectively, several practical strategies can be employed. Thoroughly draining and rinsing canned fruit under running water for an extended period can significantly reduce both sugar and sodium content. Opting for fruit packed in water or its own natural juice rather than syrup is a much healthier alternative. Even better, choosing frozen fruit, which bypasses the concerns associated with syrup, added sugars, and canned linings entirely, often represents the safest and most nutritious option for incorporating fruit into one's diet, providing a vibrant and unadulterated source of vitamins and antioxidants. Canned spinach, the leafy green deception. Canned spinach, frequently perceived as a convenient and readily available source of essential vitamins and minerals, particularly iron and vitamins A and C, unfortunately carries a hidden burden of several potentially detrimental compounds. It is naturally adept at absorbing cadmium from the soil in which it is grown. Cadmium is a heavy metal that, once absorbed by the plant, is not eliminated by cooking or the canning process. Instead, it can accumulate in the body over time, particularly in the kidneys and bones, posing significant long-term health risks, especially for older adults whose bodies may have a reduced capacity to excrete such toxins. The internal lining of the can, as is a common concern with virtually all canned goods, presents another potential issue. The presence of BPA and its various chemical substitutes in these linings means that there is a possibility of these compounds leaching into the spinach, especially given that spinach is often acidic. The high sodium content commonly found in canned spinach represents another significant concern for health-conscious consumers. A single cup of canned spinach can potentially contain over 700 milligrams of sodium, a substantial portion of the daily recommended intake for many individuals, particularly those managing hypertension or cardiovascular disease. Even varieties labeled as no salt added can still contain naturally occurring sodium that is inherent to the processing and preservation of the vegetable. The use of potassium chloride in some reduced sodium versions further compounds these risks for individuals with compromised kidney function or those who are taking certain medications that affect potassium levels, potentially leading to dangerous electrolyte imbalances and cardiac complications. Furthermore, spinach is naturally high in oxalates, naturally occurring compounds that, in susceptible individuals, can contribute to the formation of kidney stones. Its notably high vitamin K content, while beneficial for bone health and blood clotting in most people, can also pose a challenge for individuals who are taking anticoagulant medications, such as warfarin, Coumadin. The high vitamin K levels in spinach can interfere with the effectiveness of these medications, requiring careful management and consistent monitoring by a healthcare professional to maintain the correct therapeutic dosage and prevent the risk of dangerous blood clots or excessive bleeding. Finally, as a low-acid food, canned spinach, if subjected to an improperly executed canning process, or if the can seal is compromised in any way, presents a risk of botulism. This deadly neurotoxin produced by Clostridium botulinum bacteria is undetectable by taste or smell and can lead to progressive paralysis and respiratory failure. Given these multiple concerns, opting for frozen spinach offers a virtually identical level of convenience without the associated risks of heavy metal accumulation, excessive sodium, and potential imperfections in the canning process, making it a much safer and more reliable choice for regular consumption. Canned pasta, the ultimate ultra-processed trap. Canned pasta, a product often associated with childhood convenience and quick, no-fuss meals, stands as the ultimate ultra-processed food trap, brimming with a multitude of hidden dangers that can be particularly detrimental to aging bodies and those with pre-existing health conditions. The seemingly simple and harmless combination of pasta noodles, a tomato-based sauce, and often small pieces of meat or soy protein is, in reality, a meticulously engineered product designed for maximum shelf life and minimal preparation time, frequently laden with added sugars, artificial preservatives, and alarmingly excessive amounts of sodium. Numerous large-scale scientific studies consistently link the regular consumption of ultra-processed foods, such as canned pasta, to a significantly increased risk of developing chronic diseases, including type 2 diabetes, various forms of heart disease, and even premature mortality. The sodium content in canned pasta products is particularly alarming. A single cup of canned ravioli, for example, often exceeds 700 milligrams of sodium, and some cans contain closer to 1,300 milligrams. This single serving can push individuals, especially seniors who are often on diuretics or blood pressure medications that require careful sodium management, well over their entire daily sodium allowance in just one meal. Unlike canned beans, whose sodium can be reduced through rinsing, the sauce-based nature of canned pasta makes any attempt to wash away the excess salt virtually impossible and impractical. Reduced sodium versions of canned pasta are often no safer and can be equally misleading. They frequently substitute the reduced sodium with potassium chloride, a common salt substitute that can be dangerous for individuals with kidney problems or those taking certain medications, such as ACE inhibitors or potassium-sparing diuretics, potentially leading to life-threatening cardiac rhythm disturbances. The acidic nature of the tomato sauce commonly found in these products is a particular concern for the integrity of the can's lining. Trace amounts of BPA and its chemical analogs, such as BPS and BPF, can potentially leach from the lining into the acidic sauce, raising concerns about long-term health risks, including potential endocrine disruption, impaired immune system function, and metabolic disturbances. The inclusion of added sugars to enhance flavor and palatability, high levels of phosphates used as emulsifiers and stabilizers, and nitrites used as preservatives and color enhancers further compound these issues. These ingredients collectively contribute to metabolic strain, place additional burden on the kidneys, and have been linked to an increased risk of certain types of cancer. The potential for hidden allergens within the complex ingredient list, such as soy or hidden wheat derivatives, can also lead to unexpected and severe allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. Improper storage of canned pasta, such as in hot garages or sheds, can accelerate the leaching of chemicals from the can lining into the food. Furthermore, storing leftover canned pasta in the opened can can also lead to a metallic taste as the lining continues to degrade and react with the food. For those who rely on canned pasta for convenience, it is crucial to transfer any leftovers to glass or other food-safe containers immediately after opening and consume them within a few days. Ultimately, the nostalgic appeal of canned pasta often masks a formidable minefield of health risks that can be significantly amplified and more impactful with advancing age, making it a product to be consumed with extreme caution, if at all. The safe havens, your pantry's unsung heroes. While a significant number of canned goods available on supermarket shelves pose considerable health risks, particularly due to their high sodium content, potential chemical contamination from can linings, and the presence of various additives, it is crucial to recognize that not all shelf-stable options are detrimental to well-being. Indeed, two surprisingly common and unassuming pantry staples stand out for their remarkable safety profile and substantial nutritional value, provided that a few simple yet important precautions are consistently taken during their selection and preparation. These items offer a testament to the fact that convenience and healthfulness can, in fact, coexist within the realm of preserved foods, serving as reliable cornerstones of a balanced diet, especially for those who prioritize ease of preparation and long-term health. Canned beans, the nutrient powerhouse. Canned beans, encompassing a wide variety including kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, and cannellini beans, represent a remarkably safe and exceptionally nutritious pantry staple, offering significant and multifaceted health benefits when handled and prepared correctly. Their naturally low acid composition means they are subjected to stringent, high-pressure cooking and sterilization processes during canning, which are highly effective at ensuring the complete elimination of harmful bacteria, including the dangerous Clostridium botulinum. This rigorous processing renders them virtually free of the risk of botulism, provided the integrity of the can remains intact and uncompromised. For seniors, canned beans often present a safer alternative to refrigerated processed meats and cheeses, which can unfortunately harbor the pathogen Listeria monocytogenes, a particular concern for individuals with weakened immune systems. The primary concern often associated with canned beans is their sodium content, which can be substantial, having been added during the canning process for preservation and flavor enhancement. However, this is a readily and easily mitigated issue. A simple yet effective rinse under cool running water for an extended period, typically between 10 to 30 seconds, can reduce the sodium content by a significant amount, often by as much as 40% or more. This simple step transforms them from a potentially high sodium food into a heart-healthy, nutrient-dense source of vital nutrients. Beans are packed with plant-based protein, essential dietary fiber that aids in digestion and satiety, and significant amounts of potassium, iron, and folate. These nutrients are particularly vital for older adults, playing crucial roles in lowering cholesterol levels, stabilizing blood sugar, supporting robust gut health, and contributing to overall cardiovascular well-being. While some individuals may experience increased gas or bloating after consuming beans, this is typically due to their high fiber content and the presence of oligosaccharides. Starting with smaller portions and ensuring the beans are thoroughly rinsed can help the digestive system adjust gradually. Modern canning practices are increasingly favoring the use of BPA-free or BPA-NI, BPA not intentionally added, linings in their cans, further minimizing potential chemical exposure. Storing cans in cool, dry places away from extreme temperature fluctuations further minimizes any potential risk of chemical leaching from the can lining. By ensuring the can itself is undamaged and giving the beans a good, thorough rinse, you effectively unlock a versatile, safe, and exceptionally beneficial ingredient that truly contributes to and supports your overall health and well-being, making them a cornerstone of a healthy pantry. Canned tomatoes, the antioxidant champion. Canned tomatoes, including diced, crushed, paste, and whole varieties, emerge as another exceptionally safe and nutritionally beneficial pantry staple, largely due to their naturally high acidity. Tomatoes are classified as high-acid foods, a characteristic that inherently inhibits the growth and proliferation of harmful bacteria, including the dangerous Clostridium botulinum, the causative agent of botulism. When this natural acidity is combined with the high-temperature retort process employed in commercial canning, the acidic environment within the can becomes even more hostile to potential pathogens, rendering them remarkably safe for consumption, especially for seniors who are more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses that can be contracted from improperly stored or handled refrigerated items. Beyond their impressive safety profile, the canning process itself actually enhances the bioavailability of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant compound responsible for the vibrant red hue of tomatoes. The heat and homogenization techniques used during canning effectively break down the tomato's tough cell walls, releasing the lycopene and making this beneficial compound more readily absorbable by the human body. In fact, studies have shown that lycopene from canned tomatoes is often more bioavailable than that found in raw tomatoes. Pairing canned tomatoes with a healthy fat source, such as olive oil, during cooking further significantly boosts the absorption of this potent antioxidant, maximizing its health benefits. While sodium can be a concern in some canned tomato products, opting for no salt-added varieties and seasoning them yourself with herbs and spices provides a simple and effective solution to control sodium intake. It is important to note that tomatoes are naturally rich in potassium, which is generally beneficial for maintaining healthy blood pressure and fluid balance. However, For individuals with specific kidney problems or those who are taking potassium-sparing medications, an excessive intake of potassium can be an issue. In such cases, carefully checking product labels for added potassium chloride, often listed as potassium salt, is advisable. Fortunately, most tomato cans are now manufactured with BPA-free linings, and proper storage of unopened cans in cool, dry pantries further reduces any residual concerns about chemical exposure. Canned tomatoes, therefore, offer a remarkably safe, flavorful, and nutrient-dense foundation for countless healthy and delicious meals, proving to be a reliable and beneficial component of a well-stocked pantry.